please remember, fill out those evaluation slips. We're looking for some good feedback today. All right. Mark Twain says, "My father was an amazing man, and the older I got, the smarter he got." Mark Ahlers has reached the same conclusion about his own father. He's going to explain why this morning with a speech titled "The Lake House." Please welcome distinguished Toastmaster Mark Ahlers.
Shortly after I moved to Florida, my parents moved to the lake house. And it couldn't have come at a better time for me. You see, I had just started a stressful job, and the lake house was the perfect place for me to escape to a couple times a year to relax. After my son was born, the lake house became even more important because it allowed my son to enjoy 3 of his favorite things: fishing, boating, and most importantly, hanging out with his Ohio cousins. During the next dozen years, my dad overcame a series of health challenges and began to feel his mortality, so much so that he decided they should move back to our small hometown nearby, so Mom would be closer to church, the grocery store, and her many friends. So they bought a lot in town and hired a contractor, who would finish their new home by the time they returned from their winter hiatus in Florida. Then they offered to sell the lake house to each of my siblings and me. Even though we each loved it, buying the lake house didn't make sense for any one of us. So my parents listed it with a realtor. When they didn't find a buyer by winter, they paused the listing until they returned from Florida in the spring. It was then I came up with a plan that my siblings quickly approved. We would form a partnership, buy the lake house, and use it as a joint vacation home. When I shared the plan with Dad, he thought about it briefly and then, without explanation, said, "No, I'll sell it to any one of you, but I won't sell it to all of you." When I began to object, Dad quickly cut me off. I was mad, but I knew Dad wasn't going to change his mind. So I buried my anger right here. And that's where it stayed, even when Dad passed away. It wasn't until I received that box, shortly after Mom passed away, that my anger surfaced. You see, that box contains dozens of photos of all of us having a great time at the lake house. I don't know why, but it stirred up my anger so much that I grabbed the box, stormed off to the garage, and hurled it into the garbage. Just as I did, my sister called. "Did I receive the box?" "Oh, yes, thank you." "Did I enjoy the photos?" So much so that I just found the perfect place to store them. "Did I find the envelope?" "What envelope?" "You found a sealed envelope addressed to me in one of Dad's files and put it in the box." After our call ended, I removed the box from the garbage, removed this envelope from the box, and read the letter inside. If it's okay with you, I'll share it with you now. "Dear Mark, we sold the lake house today. As you know, I loved the lake house and wanted to sell it to one of you kids, but that wasn't in the cards. I briefly considered your idea of the kids forming a partnership and buying the lake house as a joint vacation home, but I couldn't do it. You see, during my 40 years in banking, I saw a lot of partnerships. Most of them failed. And the ones that succeeded, it seemed like the partners almost always ended up hating each other. I couldn't take that risk, not for my children. I hope someday you'll understand. Love, Dad. Well, Dad, it's taken me a while. But I do understand now. After many years of practicing law, I've also seen a lot of partnerships. And I think financial guru Dave Ramsey has it right when he says the only ship that won't sail is a partnership. I'm also happy to report that your children, Doug, Randy, Amy, and I, are closer now than we've ever been. There's rarely a week that passes when I don't speak to all of them by phone, and rarely a month that passes when I don't see one or more of them, either here in Florida or back home in Ohio. In fact, when I was in Ohio recently, having dinner with them, a man approached me and introduced himself. It was Craig Rosengarten, the guy who purchased the lake house. He explained how he and his wife looked at the lake house when you first listed it and loved it, but couldn't afford it. When Craig ran into you the following spring, you suggested he take another look at the property. He did, and was thrilled when you not only lowered the price, but asked Jim Haney at the bank to help them get a mortgage. Then he looked me, then with tears welling up in his eyes, he looked me straight in the eye and said, "Your dad really wanted us to have that property." As tears welled up in my own eyes, I replied, "I know, and I'm eternally grateful he did." Mr. Toastmaster.